Donald Trump is no different than a 3 or a 4 or a 5-year-old. He is, in fact, a gigantic toddler, and we have known this for quite some time. I mean, let's be real clear about this. We have seen him throw legitimate temper tantrums on TV, during debates, and of course, daily on Truth Social, much like a child would do. Anytime he doesn't get his way, or somebody says something that hurts his feelings, he gets on there and he lets us know in the most childlike way imaginable. And it's getting worse. I mean, obviously, we've heard about the temper tantrums in the White House that we haven't seen, but we've heard about the ketchup all over the walls, throwing plates and food like a child would. And I think that's how we need to start addressing this, because that's how the White House is addressing Donald Trump. They're like the lazy parents, the ones who are like, oh, he's throwing a tantrum again. Let's just give in so that he stops the tantrum. So his staffers and officials within this administration have started treating him like a whiny, petulant toddler. And it's mostly due to the fact that his cognitive decline is getting so much worse. I will explain in just a moment the connection between those two things, but first, a very quick word from today's video sponsor. By now, you know Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed. But almost no one's reporting how ICE will get nearly $40 billion of our tax money each year, making it the most heavily funded law enforcement agency in U.S. history. That's more money than most nations spend on their entire military. So much of our media is either missing the worst of this bill or twisting the language so you think it's all in your best interest. But we've seen the ICE raids ramping up. Now Trump's openly threatening to deport U.S. citizens. This should be the biggest story in America, yet it's buried. Making ground news essential right now is what all of this is doing. They're the only tool I've found exposing these blind spots in the media. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, then analyzing just how far-right and radical each unbiased source actually is, you get way more context than you ever would anywhere else. If we're being honest, we've seen Trump's power grabs throughout history. They said never again, and that means never again everywhere. And right now, it's happening here. So if you want to stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply finding the stories missing from your news feeds, Ground News has you covered. Their app and website is a smarter, more reliable way to stay informed at a time when MAGA is banking on us to stay distracted. So I've partnered with them to get you 40% off the same Vantage plan that I have been using. That comes out to $5 a month for unlimited access to everything I've mentioned and so much more. Just go to ground.news/Farron or scan the QR code to subscribe. With at least another 4 years of this, we can't afford to miss these details. So as Donald Trump's mental state continues to visibly deteriorate before our very eyes, his White House staff, the officials in his cabinet, have all started treating him more and more like a child. Because I believe at this point that Donald Trump, with his cognitive decline, possible dementia, is in fact reverting to more of a childlike state. And I think that much is painfully obvious from what we are seeing from him. Here's a great example this week of his cognitive decline. On Monday, doing a little Q&A with reporters in the White House, Oval Office, he invented a governor that doesn't exist and then insisted that he did favors for this governor who is still super mean to him. Here's what he said. I did a favor for Christy Wittmann. A good favor, I think, with the fish, the carp, the China carp. You ever heard of it? China carp. And it's taking over the Great Lakes. Now, most people assume that he, of course, is talking about Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, but he could also be referring to, based on the name, because he said Christy Wittmann, He could have been talking about Christine Todd Wittmann, the former director of the Environmental Protection Agency, which would also fit the description of doing something about the China carp in the Great Lakes. Either way, he doesn't know who the hell he's talking about, right? That is cognitive decline. Again, in the latest episode of If Biden Had Done This, it'd have been front page news all over the place. So that's the cognitive decline, and that's just one example from the last 72 hours. He also, in the same meeting, rambled on and on incoherently about changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. He talked about other things that he just completely got wrong. He lied about the economy because he doesn't know how to accept the truth about it. It was a disaster from start to finish. And of course, he looked like death warmed over and continued to hide his hands so that you couldn't see the bruises on either one of them. His health, both physical and mental, is failing fast. And so, this administration is treating him like a toddler. Because a little while later, Pam Bondi came in and she went up to Trump and said, I think Gady Saralta had something he wanted to give you on behalf of all the law enforcement who are out there every single night. You know, kind of like a mother telling her little pouty child that, hey, I think Mr. Lawman has something special for you. And then this guy with the U.S. Marshal Service proceeded to give Donald Trump an honorary badge, saying, quote, Mr. President, thank you for putting me in charge of this search as the director of the U.S. Marshal Service on behalf of all the federal enforcement agencies that we're working with and those that have yet to join the team. We thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. That is the same badge, by the way. They keep them, you know, they have a lot of them that they give out to little kids if they encounter kids. In fact, they also gave one to the young child with cancer that was able to attend the State of the Union this year. He was there as a guest because he had, you know, helped police in his state. So the Secret Service gave him the exact same honorary badge that they gave to Donald Trump. They're treating him like a child. There is nothing special or significant about it for a 79-year-old man. Honestly, it's almost a little insulting to be like, dude, you give this out to 5-year-olds. Why are you giving it to me? But Trump loved it. He's like, oh, this is really nice. I like this. I'm going to put it next to my FIFA trophy that I stole. And I'm going to put it next to my special Diet Coke can with my picture on it that Mr. Coca-Cola gave me. He's a child. He has the mentality of a child. And the reason for that is because he's never had to mature in his life. He's never had to grow up. When he was little, I'm assuming that he threw the same kind of tantrums that we see on Truth Social every day, and his parents just gave in. They were lazy and said, screw it. What do you want? I'll give it to you. Just shut the hell up, Donnie. Mommy doesn't want to deal with you. Daddy doesn't want to be near you. Whatever you want, fine, you get it. So it kind of trains him that if I throw a tantrum, I'll get what I want. Now, most kids will grow out of that, right? Reality will come and smack them in the face at some point in their lives and they stop. But for Trump, reality has never had the chance to smack him in the face. It almost did with the Jack Smith prosecutions. But even that he got out of all of it. Everything, always, forever, including the massive penalty in the New York fraud trial that was taken away last week. He gets away with everything, so it perpetuates this kind of childlike behavior. I always get what I want. And then, look at this crap. We've got these United States Department of Agriculture, and then this week, the U.S. Bureau of Labor. Like, the Labor Office, they've both hung giant banners with Donald Trump's big, stupid face on them from the front of their buildings. And that is the equivalent, by the way, of taking a 5-year-old's crappy artwork and sticking it on your fridge with a magnet like, oh, look what Junior did here. That's really nice, isn't it? Tell him how nice it is. That's what they're doing with his big face hanging on the building. It's like, oh, look, who is that guy? Who's that special guy on the building? Because they're treating him like a child. because I think at this point they have to treat him like a child. His cognitive decline has gotten to the point where he can only understand things and deal with things if they treat him like he's 5 years old. Thanks for watching.